Okie doke. Let's see if we are live. Yes, we are. Fantastic. All right. Good morning. I just wanted to play that because it was funny to me. All right, I'm done. Let's go. So that was my what do you call? This is my ridiculous selection of music for the day. Anyhow, how's it going, everyone? So I don't really have too much in the way of like news for the day outside of, it's another day in freaking Gomorrah out here. And there is one thing that I did want to talk about, sort of, I guess. There is a weird thing that I experienced, was a part of. I was a party to this, against my will, but it happened. I was at my local watering hole, we'll say, the other day. Not really a watering hole because what I'm about to say obviously makes it not a bar, but anyhow, I was at a place where there was a young woman, maybe mid-20s. Like, if I absolutely had to guess, if someone said, Eke, you tell me, I would say she was between 29 and 31, but I can't be sure for reasons. But anyway, she had a child with her who was, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years old or so. And I found myself drawn into a conversation with her and one of the employees at the place that I was frequenting. So help me, the weirdest goddamn thing happened. And I still don't really know what to make of it, other than that I am absolutely in the pits of hell. The employee was a female. She was LGBT with child herself, though not physically present, as where the somewhat young woman of, because I think that she was like mid-20s, but you know how some people, it sounds so messed up to say it this way, but there's some people that don't age well. I think she was the type of person that didn't age well. It sounds kind of messed up, but whatever. Anyway, moving on. The employee was LGBTQ. The young woman, we'll say, with child, and myself. We all got drawn into some kind. I don't know what precipitated it. I have no idea, but the concept of places to be came up, and I'm typically quite open about how I want to go to nature. Los Angeles is all fine and well, but it is totally unnatural, and I don't like it much anymore. And my thought is that I want to be in a place with trees. I want to be in a place where there is sunshine and clouds and not a bleak gray hellscape. Anyhow, while we were discussing this concept, I don't recall exactly how the specifics came up, but I had made mention that I want to go to, Big Sky Country. I don't think I said Montana, but something like that. And the LGBTQ person, she said something to the effect of, yeah, but I really love the diversity here in Los Angeles. The young mother, she agreed and said yes. I think this is standard NPC stuff, but whatever. And they both kind of looked at me as though waiting for me to affirm or deny. I neither affirmed nor denied because I didn't want to get caught up in that at all. So I chose instead to remain silent, and I ended up focusing on, because I think one of them said something about how there's a lot of white people there. I don't remember what the there was, but they were talking about a there that wasn't Los Angeles. Oh, there's so many white people there. And it was really, really peculiar. I ended up getting into some kind of a strange conversation. I shit you not. Both of these people were white, one more so than the other. The young mother was she was Slavic with brown eyes, but her child was blonde-haired and blue-eyed. So I'm inclined to believe that the Slavic young woman was in fact just nominally white, just like the LGBTQ person. Anyhow, both of these people had children, and both of them were talking disparagingly. The specific state that did end up getting brought up into conversation was Washington, and they were talking about Seattle, and they were speaking disparagingly of how white Seattle is, and I was mortified, absolutely mortified. I didn't know what to say. So again, I ended up keeping quiet. What do I want? Nature. This sort of a thing. But it was weird. Really weird. The people here, I'm starting to now come around to the concept that we are not only being ruled by some kind of a weird elite that loathes us. These people seem to have put a spell on us. There seems to be some kind of a wicked spell. I don't know what else to call it. So that these people, these poor bastards, and they were both, the frustrating thing is they were both nice people. I could see it. I could see that they meant well. And somehow they still ended up, both of them, basically signing off on a model of civilization, a program, a thought pattern that would disparage and disenfranchise their own children. How reprehensible is that? And I ended up feeling sorry for them and like bad. It's hard to explain. It's really, really hard to explain. There's the I don't remember. It's from the Bible, but I don't remember exactly what part it's from. Anyhow, the phrase is, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." I want to say that is from Jesus speaking of the Jews as they sent him to be crucified. This was actually not far off from my thought pattern. I really did think to myself something along the lines of "forgive them, for they know not what they do." Not verbatim, not exactly. It's hard to explain what my thought pattern was at the time other than just sheer horror. But yeah, like, dude, I'm thinking to myself that these people, these poor bastards, they're going to create a condition, a situation where they're going to start harming their own children openly. And so help me, I think these kids are going to get pissed off. And I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I don't know what there is to do even. Like, really, what does one do? I genuinely don't know. But consider for a moment that we have, literally, this is not even a joke, we have an entire generation of mothers and fathers that are effectively disparaging their own heritage. Yeah, I know, eternalism, I'm sorry about that, I can't help it. It's a tick, it's a terrible tick. We have an entire generation of mothers and fathers that are disparaging their own ancestors, that are going to dispossess their own children. This is freakish, absolutely freakish. And I mean, I don't know how many of the Zoomers are catching on. I mean, I know that a lot of them are. I really do understand that. But just imagine an entire generation of kids that realize that their parents and their grandparents basically ruined their civilization. These children are going to be super duper upset. They're going to be so pissed off. They're going to be snippy. And think about the Zoomers that are just getting into being maybe 15, 16 right now. Okay? The peak time for being, Day of the Pillow, that's gonna fucking happen. Not that I advocate it. I don't advocate it. This is a stream of peace. We here at Ekelux live streams do not extol, exhort, condone, or advocate anything in the way of any kind of a physical activity. Everyone listening to this needs to stay home, stay in your basements, play Minecraft, subscribe to PewDiePie, and my gosh, diversity macht frei. Israel is our greatest ally. Moving on, the peak time for like super duper energy for people in general tends to be between the ages of like 13 and maybe 25, 26. That's when you've got like peak energy, unfocused, hormones raging, weird, like you're everything is relatively new still. You're trying to figure things out, you're trying to solve problems, blah blah blah. I mean, my God, just go to any high school or college campus and you will see people doing weird bullshit and behaving in weird now more than ever. Like unfiltered humanity. Civilization really is a blessing, in all honesty. The older I get, the more I realize that there's a lot to be said for socialization. Anyhow, the thing is that these kids now that are in their like mid-teens to late teens or whatever, that are watching their civilization be sold. They're watching their futures get burned in front of them. These kids are going to get pissed off, and they're about to start getting into the area of having the beginnings of political power. They will be able to start getting into places where they can do more than just be a bunch of edgy teenagers. And consider that Texas goes blue in 2024, okay? Trump leaves office, the Democrats, they win the next presidency, period. This is not a question of if. This is simply going to happen, I'm sure of it. I could be wrong. Maybe in 4 years, someone is going to be like, Eke, you are fucking wrong. And I'm going to be like, well, okay, I was. It's possible. Point is, I think I'm going to be right about that. I think that my prediction of them winning the presidency from now on, because of flipping everything blue, because of mass immigration, I think that this is the case. Anyhow, consider for a moment all of the Zoomers that are in their teens now that will be in their early to mid-20s by 2024, and they get to watch all of this front row seat. They will have been told since childhood, since they were in middle school, for sure, because that's about when it started. They will have been told since middle school, and I'm now referring to Heritage America. I'm referring specifically to white America at this point. They will have been told for the latter part of their schooling years that they were bad because of what they are, because they were white. And now imagine for a moment the possibility, which may or may not come about. I think it will, but it may not. But we're going to go hypothetical for the moment. The future in which Democrats win the presidency in 2024, and that presidency decide whatever, regime, administration, whatever you want to call it, they decide, I think this is going to happen. I think that they are going to basically take the leash off. And I'm not saying that the next regime, the next presidency, is going to have malice in its heart for white America. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that I think that there will be those who are so-called progressives, the radical left, the J left, the internationalists, the socialists, SJWs, whatever the hell you want to call them. They are not liberals. I will stand on that one thing. They are not liberal. Anyway, I think these people are going to move into revenge mode. I think these people, because listen to the rhetoric that's going on right now. Everyone's a Nazi. Everyone's a bigot. Everyone's a racist. Everyone's a misogynist, xenophobe, homophobe, Islamophobe, blah, 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 blah. They're setting, on a language level, they're setting everyone up for, these people are evil, they must be destroyed. Once they are out of office, it's time to get back at them. These people, these ruiners of progressivism, of progressive America, or whatever. I think that the next regime in 2024, when I say that they're going to take the leash off, the only thing that I mean is that they are not going to condemn, firstly. Secondly, I don't think that they are going to rein in. I don't think they're going to punish bad actors. And I think they're going to allow the radical, again, left, communist, socialist, SJW, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. They're going to allow those people free run in their cities to essentially purge, punish, excoriate, humiliate, attack, whether legally, financially, possibly, italicized, possibly physically, anyone that they declare to be right-wing. And that goes for me too. Even though say what you will, I still count myself as being a liberal for technical reasons. I still count myself as being slightly left-leaning for technical reasons. They don't care. These people will not care. And that's the problem. The problem here is that we're about to enter, within the next 4 years, a situation in which it won't matter if you, and I'm referring to anyone here, anyone in the chat, it will not matter if anyone in particular in this chat counts themselves as being right-leaning or left-leaning, liberal or conservative. Pick your poison. Doesn't matter. Because they're only going to see that if you are not with them, then you are the enemy in their eyes. And of course, like 99% of the chat here is white. Side note, by the way, let me just go ahead and say, please say something nice about your Fed while we're on the topic. Anyhow, they're not going to care about any of these qualifiers or descriptors or anything. See, Daniel Sienkiewicz says they are not liberals, but they continually liberalize our borders and bounds. Yes, I concur totally. This is why I don't count. Like, I'm starting to think in terms of calling them the illiberal left. I don't have good descriptors. I don't have a good language set for dealing with these people. But I definitely concur that these people are not liberal, and I still hold that anyone that is an identitarian is tacitly leftist, if only because the delineation is right-leaning means individualistic, left-leaning means collective. And since the majority of us here, we are more or less white identitarians, that suggests that even if it's only on a very specific, perhaps even a low level, we are still leftists in some sense. That's all I'm saying. The point is simply, again, that the descriptors are going to be irrelevant. We are going to enter a situation where the gloves will come off, the hostility will be open, it will be unabashed, and it's just going to be, the course. It's just going to be what's going to happen. And watch the Zoomers. The Zoomers are going to be because listen to, yes, I know, 15 minutes of fame. Nick Fuentes is currently kind of a hot ticket in some circles. Whether you like it or not doesn't really matter. It's not really the point. But listen to his rhetoric. Listen to the kinds of things that he says. Listen to his tone. Nick Fuentes, and he's not even fully white. Think about when the 100% white kids start to get pissed off. We're going to see some real shit. We're going to see some fireworks. We're going to see some nuts stuff. I speak for myself, and only for myself. This is only Eke speaking about Eke. This has nothing to do with anyone else. But I still hold that I genuinely don't care if a person is black or Mexican or Asian or even Jewish. I don't care. As long as the person is generally nice, and okay or whatever, I don't give a flying fuck. But, here's the big but. But, I understand about group dynamics, and I have been witness to the slow destruction of everything that I hold dear. And even I am upset. Now, back in my 20s, I was a little more energetic. I was a touch more snippy and pissy, aggressive perhaps. And I think that if I had noticed all of these things, like if somehow there were a way to either slide the timeline down to when I was younger, like in my mid-20s or something, so like somehow 2019 happened when I was in my mid-20s, or if you were to slide my life up a little bit so that perhaps I was born a little later, so that I would be in my mid-20s currently, I could see myself as being, I hesitate to use the phrasing, so please bear with me on this one. I could see myself being a lot more SEEJ in my mindset, and I've calmed down. This is just a common thing. Anyone that is over the age of like 38 understands, or 35 perhaps. Somewhere around age 31, you just start slowing down. It's the weirdest thing, and I guess I do kind of get it. But yeah, as where, back in my teens and 20s, I used to listen to a lot of like Nine Inch Nails and White Zombie and stuff like that. That was, Filter. What was it? Crystal Method, Chemical Brothers, Prodigy, stuff like that. That was the kind of music that I listened to back in those days. It's all we had. We didn't have all this newfangled stuff like the vaporwave or whatever that's going on right now. Anyway, I used to listen to a lot more aggressive music, and then I don't know what it was, but somehow I hit age like 29 or so, and then boom, I was listening to Boards of Canada out of nowhere. Anyway, the thing is that even, this is a giant, long-winded way of saying that even though I have slowed down, I recognize that I've slowed down. It's part of the course. Even I'm pissed off. I've got age, I've got filters, I've got a lot of things to keep me as even keel and as steady as possible, and even I'm pissed off. Now, of course, my idea of being pissed off is simply to do what, I stream about it to like a dozen people or something, and a couple of feds. Great, cool. But consider the Generation Z. They don't have filters. We're going to need to start thinking at some point in the very near future about how to start framing things psychologically for Generation Z. Because they are about to, again, thinking about the story that I mentioned earlier on with these women who were patting each other on the back. They were boasting about how they didn't like being around other white people, how they didn't want to be in a city that was too white. The net effect of that is that they're going to basically end up, and I'm inferring this is true, but whatever. They are basically going to shame their children for being white. That's going to happen. And those kids, they are going to need a psychological structure so that they can interpret and deal with that. I have lived with this my whole life, and I know people within my own family even who have adopted this mentality of anti-whiteism. I know people personally who are self-loathing white people who borderline get off on this stuff, and they talk to me like I'm supposed to agree with it, and I don't. Now, I have forgiven these people because I like them. They are fundamentally misguided. They're still a part of my in-group, in my own mind. They're still a part of my in-group. I think they're heinously misguided. And it pains me to see this. It pains me to listen to them sometimes. But this is just how it is. And I have no choice but to forgive them. In some cases, I have had to distance myself from some of these people. But this is just the way that it is. Anyhow, what I'm saying is that I get it. I know that there's going to, of necessity, going to need to figure out a way to communicate to Generation Z that what's going on is unjust, what's happening to them is terrible, and that they ought not seek revenge. That's not to say that they shouldn't deal with the situation. They should. That's not to say that they shouldn't deal with the situation zealously. They should. What I am saying, though, is that I think these kids are going to need to find constructive ways that deal with the situation as humanely as possible. One of my greatest fears is that there will be a response to the radical, socialistic, communistic, SJW, leftist, whatever you want to call them, these people. My fear is that the response will be disproportionate. That's my only fear. And the weird thing is, I can't even fault the people that would have a disproportionate response, because I get it. Like, I totally understand. When those two chicks were going off on their big, LA is so diverse, Seattle is not diverse enough, too many white people, blah, 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 am I right, ha, ha, ha. I was like, fuck off, man, I can't handle this. This is not cool. And I kind of feel like I almost ended up tipping my hand by not agreeing, because I made a concerted effort to never agree with any of the things that they were saying when it regarded anti-white sentiments. I think I did agree to like a couple of other things, but I made a point of never agreeing to any anti-white sentiments. And I like the LGBT chick, like, she was looking at me with that kind of probing look, and I spotted it. Like, in the back of her head, I think that she knows. I think that she knows that I am not on board with that program. Because, like, whatever, anyway, I could go on about that, but it doesn't really matter. We just need a structure. We need to have some kind of schematic psychologically in place. That's really what we need to start thinking about, in all honesty. Holly, hey buddy, how's it going, buddy? It's hard not to be old and woke. What can we actually do? I don't know. But I can't sit around being pissed off like a teenager. Yeah, this is why I'm trying to think in terms of things that I can control and things over which I have at least some power. I mean, I will admit that, doing streaming is kind of like whatever, like for the most part. Like, what are we doing? This is kind of like, we're amongst friends, and this is good, and I'm very glad. Hello, everyone, by the way. I'm really glad that everyone's here. Jonathan Pohl, James, Venus Rising, Daniel Sienkiewicz, Eternalism. Love you guys. You guys are awesome. So no disparagement. Clearly, no disparagement. I'm only saying that these streams are only part of it. There's got to be some way of getting out into the world that's going to present itself in the very near future, and I look forward to that. I think that there are some tremendous inroads that are being laid. Oh, Goose, that hurts, man. Oh, got me in the chest. Next week, by the way, we're going to do a West Coast stream. So Jonathan Pohl and Goose, I'll be sending out links. I think I'm going to go with Wednesday, like West Coast Wednesday or something. Just as a side note. Anyway, there are incredible avenues, paths being forged right now that I think are going to be great moving into the future. And so, for example, I was, it's a little embarrassing, whatever. I was listening to John Mark. Yeah, he's a little silly, but, I like him. He's good enough. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, that John Mark guy, like, he's basically getting, like, tens of thousands of views every month. There are people that are legit taking us seriously. I'm not saying that John Mark fully represents our views. I get it. But there's overlap. The point is that there's overlap. That's the point. And I was looking at the comments section of a news... Gosh, well, I'm going to see if I can find it, actually. Because it's funny. Like, really, really funny. Okay, I'm going to look it up right now, actually. And I'm gonna post a link to it, and I would like, maybe not now, but at some point, it would be a thing to do. Read the comments of what I am about to link right now. The comments are incredible. Okay, where are we? We're going to copy link. Copy and share. I'm serious. The comments are amazing. Oh, Deathcog Unit is here. Hey, buddy, what's going down? Next Wednesday, I don't know how long Deathcog Unit has been in chat, but just throwing it out there. West Coast Wednesdays. So Jonathan Pohl, Deathcog Unit, and Goose. Anyway, that video that I just linked to, read the comments. There are a lot of red-pilled people out there. There are a lot of people that understand what's going on and are, like, they get it. They get it. We are not alone. Never, ever think that we are alone. So, anyway, I guess, okay, I've basically wandered around the same point for the past 40 freaking minutes. Yeah, we're gonna need schematics. People are aware. There are inroads. We need to be thinking about, schematics. We need to be thinking about having networks that we can utilize to our advantage. Because in the future, there are going to be people that are going to be coming online. That is to say, people who are currently unaware, people who have no agency, who will flip suddenly to being aware, who will flip to having agency. That is going to happen. Because as I was talking about the Zoomers that are in their mid to late teens now in 2024, they're going to be in their early to mid 20s. Now consider all of the consider all of the 10-year-olds now that will be 30, or I'm sorry, no, they'll be, they'll be 20 by the time 2030 hits. When 2030 hits, they're going to be 20 years old. They will have spent their entire lives being told that they are bad for being born white. Those little kids are going to need a structure that they can plug into so that they have an outlet for their thought patterns, so that they have an outlet for their distress. We need to be thinking in those terms,
because we all want to reach out to those within our own age group. We all want to be reaching out to those who are maybe 5 years younger or whatever. Clearly that's the case, and I'm a part of that. I'm with it. I like it. I'm all about it. And at the same time, there are new people being born all the time. There are new people that are just getting their legs under them. There are new people that are just starting to move into adulthood who have never thought about these things the way that we have. We're lucky. Not lucky. It's not luck. It's just the way that it is. You get older. You have had an entire lifetime to roll thoughts around in your head in ways that a 20-year-old has not. We have life experience that a 20-year-old has not had. We owe it to them in some sense. We owe it to them to pass on what we have learned. Sadly, the boomers did a pretty shit job of passing anything on to us. Anyway, all I'm saying is we're in a weird spot. We're in a peculiar spot. There's great danger and great opportunity in front of us. Let's see here. Daniel Sinkowitz is saying that I'm having a hard time sorting out certain types of words and frameworks. And yeah, that may be the case. That actually might be the case. But overall, I feel like I'm doing okay. Let's see here. He has a good image, and his content appeals to a lot of people. Babby's first red pill. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about John Mark as well. He's really good for the noobs. I'm not saying that with any disparagement whatsoever. The opposite is the case. I think we need to have people like John Mark who can discuss things in such a way that the uninitiated have a focal point that is comprehensible and easily processed. So I'm totally on board with people like John Mark, and also, Black Pigeon Speaks. I haven't listened to any Black Pigeon Speaks with great interest in like a year or something. I think he did have a video like a couple months ago that I genuinely thought was good, that did pique my interest, though weirdly I can't remember what it was about, but it really was interesting. It actually was really good. But I count Black Pigeon Speaks as being a part of that, for the noobs, for the people who are, again, uninitiated, those who have yet to start to work through these things. We need people like that, so I think they're great, and I will never disparage. Well, okay, let me come back from that a little bit. I might criticize them a little bit, but I don't think that's disparagement per se. Anyway. Alright, so I think this is as good a time as any. Oh man, milk, peanut butter, and crackers. Oh man, I miss that, dude. For those who don't remember, James clearly does remember. Way back like a year ago when I first started streaming. I started streaming in like spring or summer of 2018, and at the time I had a little tiny medical issue that I was just coming off of, and I was trying to get weight, basically. It sounds kind of weird to say it that way, but it's true. I was just trying to gain weight, and my diet was just whatever I could stuff into my gullet, and that was really about it. And I ended up centering on like bananas, peanut butter, and cookies. And the cookies that I got, I didn't know, but those cookies, they were actually vegan. So way back in the day, I actually used to have, for my stream snacks, I used to be doing like oblique Nassim references in terms of my diet, which I think is really funny. Now I've sort of gone in the opposite direction. I'm eating basically keto, and it sounds like I just eat fat and meat all day long. So, well, yeah. Poor Nassim would probably be admonishing me right now. But God bless her. I still love her, but I'm going meat. Anyway, all right. I'm going to play some music, and I will be back momentarily. Let's see, what is this? What am I about to play? This is a great track. I love this track. Okay. This is Tim Capello. This is Tim Sexy Sax Man Capello from the 1985 movie, or 86, I think it's 85, Lost Boys, which, anyone who has not yet seen that movie, check it out. There's a lot going on in that movie, but I can't help it. For some reason, I still love this track. Anyway, here we are. This is Tim Capello.
Through the grief, through the
Oh man, I was listening to the music again like a retard. I can't believe I did it again. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, that was Tim Capello, and James rightly notices that my taste in music does tend toward 80s. Part of that is because I have to be careful of copyright issues for YouTube for some reason. There's like a specific genre of music that I really like a lot, and like YouTube doesn't filter it too much, so for some reason I can get away with playing shit like what I just played. That's actually the key reason why I play what I play. Truth be told, it has nothing to do with what I really, because oh my god, I'd be playing Tears for Fears in Depeche Mode right now if I could, but I can't, so it's a real fucking bummer because YouTube, but what are you gonna do? So anyway, but yeah, okay, coming way back to having schematics for Generation Z. I was having some conversation with Intellectual Embargo about community building and how he thought that by moving to another city, by moving to a place where it's more more populous, or rather more populated by white people, you are in some sense robbing the potential. You are robbing the existing white people within your own city of the possibility of being red-pilled by you. And I think there's something to that. Now, I understand that both Tom Kaczynski and also Intellectual Embargo are coming at the exact same problem from two different vector points. So, we need to have a multiplicity of stratagems in play. I don't think that there's a one-size-fits-all. I think that weirdly, our strength is our liability, and our liability is our strength. I refer now to white people. We have a tendency to be very individualistic, which is great from the standpoint of, again, I still count myself as being a liberal. I understand all the liabilities that come along with that. There are a lot of liabilities that come along with that. But anyway, the thing is that there are a lot of good things that came out of that style of thought. Yes, a lot of bad things. I completely concur. But for some reason, I think, I could be wrong, but I think our individualism is like one of the things that helps us in these kinds of dire straits, where it's really hard for us to get out of a bind or whatever without a lot of time, a lot of thought, a lot of whatever. Like, we just need to get out of it. Our individualism means that there are going to be many of us that will simply act of our own accord. Being individualistic means that you are very high agency. That's great, because that means that you can identify a problem in a situation that needs to be corrected or modified or whatever, and you can just go and deal with it. That's the good thing about being individualistic. We all know the bad things. My God, we could go on about that a lot, but I think that both Intellectual Embargo and Tom Kaczynski are both kind of correct. I do think that we kind of are missing an opportunity. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm a part of that. Missing an opportunity to red pill a fuckload of people here in the cities. There have got to be so many white people that are primed, that are like, how do I, like, this is kind of a lame example, but whatever. When you are, when you're shooting a pistol for target, and what you do is you stack the trigger, you pull until you get to the wall, and then once you are at the wall, all that needs to happen is you just put a little more effort into it. Boom. You get your break, you get your shot, you're doing great. I kind of feel like there's a lot of people here. There's gotta be a lot of people where the trigger is all the way to the wall, and the only thing that it would take is just a little bit of effort, and boom, clean break. I think I think that's the case. I think that there are a lot of people that are primed, they're ready for it, and all we have to do is find ways to just start spreading the red pills. And I'm coming all the way back now to what I was streaming about like a year ago, which is pink pill. If you just distribute little tiny pink pills all the time, you're doing great. Don't red pill people. They will self-red pill. But if you distribute pink pills, little tiny itty bitty pills that just move toward the red. Perhaps purple pill is another one, but I like pink pill because it's only one syllable instead of 2 syllables. Anyway, with the pink pills, yeah, like I think we could start making headway with that. Anyway, okay. For some reason, I've been ignoring chat. Hey guys, how's it going? I can see that there's some kind of a peculiar war or something going on in chat. Just weird. Okay, guys, I don't know what's going on there. I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's see here. I'm gonna just make a formal request that we not hide. Tom Anderson. Daniel can be a bit much sometimes. I actually do agree with that, but I don't want to hide him. I'm okay with timeouts if let's see here. Yeah, I would time him out for that. I would time him out for that though. But anyway, okay, it's freaking midnight, and tomorrow I've got to go and be like responsible or whatever. So I'm gonna have to get ready to call stream. So yeah, I guess that's really about it. I've been thinking also a little bit about how, because last year I read an article and I had to take it down for reasons, but whatever, and I'm going to reread it. And the article was about people who don't have children and instead sacrifice themselves for the good of the tribe, and how such people are actually a net benefit, in some cases more beneficial than those who had children. That sounds very counterintuitive, and I understand that. But the concept, long and short, is that a person who self-sacrifices and ends up saving, I don't remember what the number was, I think it was like 2 or 3 people or something like that. If that person saves like a certain number of people, I don't remember, I wish I could remember the number, but there was this dude who did this weird mathematical thought pattern on the thing, and he ended up with the idea that if you save a certain number of people, being self-sacrificial is actually more beneficial to the tribe than if you simply had children. So basically, this is the difference between R-type and K-type. So I think it's a great concept. One of the other things that was discussed in the paper was that we should be thinking about countries like territories within the context of carrying capacity. When we mass import people, we are reducing the carrying capacity, the unused carrying capacity of the land. Okay, if we are going to be, if we're going to assume that we have control and autonomy of the land, that land is for our children, for our posterity. And if we are giving away that land to other groups, we reduce the carrying capacity in such a way that it impinges upon our children negatively. So carrying capacity, I think this is a great concept that needs to be more fully explored. And yeah, I'm going to read that paper at some point in the not too distant future. I absolutely have got to finish reading Kolyma Tales because I'm still only about like 3/5 through that book or something, so that's my bad. But whatever, I'm a silly person and I'm okay with that. Okay. I'm going to let out. I don't really have the time or energy to stay up to like play an album or anything. So sadly, it's just going to be normal stream and then outskis. Anyway, I would like to say thank you everybody for popping by. You're all great. We was Kangs. You're all Kangs. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm done. Anyhow, yeah, no, thank you everyone for popping by. And no matter what happens, there are people that have really malicious and terrible idea sets that are super unpleasant and very ugly. Try not to let them get you down. When possible, try to forgive them. Because I mean, if they would just get right with God, I'm sure they'd be fine. I have to believe that. So you try to let it go when possible. Try not to get too negative or too black-pilled or whatever. Don't let the evil spell that wants you to be low energy, don't let it work its magic on you. Don't be the low energy that they want you to be. Now is not the time for that. We need to be thinking about the future. We need to be thinking about building structures for the next generation, because without those structures to help the next generation, everything that we have fought for and sacrificed for goes away. It all dies. We can't let that happen. So, anyway, alright guys, I am going to let out. I did no K-streaming, but we will pretend that I did for just a moment. I am a great big fan of good old Glocks. They're fantastic. They are not excellent at anything, but they are pretty good at just about everything. I like them. I think they're awesome. Maybe I sound like Chuck Norris. I don't know, but he's getting paid for it, as where I'm not. I like Glocks. I think they're great. And if you're going to use a Glock for the intended purpose of punching holes through paper plates, then I say absolutely do have the 4 rules of firearm safety in mind while you are plinking away, even though plinking necessarily means that we're talking about steel targets and not paper, but whatever, we're not going to worry about that. If you're going to go ahead and do such a thing, have the 4 rules in mind. Rule number 1, always treat every firearm like it is loaded. Rule number 2, never cover or sweep anything that you are not willing to destroy. Rule number 3, your finger stays off of the trigger until your sights are on target. And the 4th and final rule is be aware of your target and what's beyond it. Safety first. Side note, by the way, maybe I'll talk a bit about this more tomorrow, but I'm pretty happy about this. I ended up doing calisthenics for the past like week and a half, 2 weeks or so. And it's with the idea of rebuilding my shoulders and my posture, because it's a little bit embarrassing, but whatever. My posture wasn't that great for like the last 2 years, and I don't like it. I used to have excellent posture, so I'm trying to get back into that. And I've been taking looks just to be sure. Yeah, I'm starting to straighten out again. I'm starting to get my old shoulders back. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. I'm not the greatest specimen on the planet, but for anyone, for any reason, if anyone is thinking about, maybe, no, just do it. Absolutely, just do it, and you'll be amazed at how quickly the results start popping up. For me, yeah, sure, I'm not going to be Mr. Universe. I'm never going to look like, oh man, I can't remember the guy's name. The dude who played the Hulk in the 1970s television show. Shit. Lou, I think it was Lou Ferrigno or something like that. I forgot his name. Anyway, I just remember that it was like Mr. Universe was between that guy, the guy who played the Hulk, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it was the guy who played the Hulk that ended up getting the title, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, he got like second place or something like that. I'm never going to be either one of those guys, but that's okay. I'm completely fine with that, so long as I am fit enough and stout enough that I can handle my business. Oh, nice. Oh, thank God I got it right. So long as I'm strong enough and stout enough that I can handle my business, I feel like I'm okay. I feel like I'm doing great just with that alone. So I would say that for everyone that has the idea in mind, and maybe they're having a second thought for any reason, no, just freaking do it, man. And amazingly, just calisthenics. I'm not doing anything but just body weight exercises right now. I have yet to graduate to weights. I'll worry about that once I get to the point of body weight exercising no longer, because I still do have like a little bit of like muscle pain. Like I can work to the point of getting to muscle pain with just with body weight. And my reps are getting into, like, I'm starting to brush up against doing, like, going well past 100 for my general reps. So once I move into the area where body weight is no longer doing that, I'll be going into weights. But the thing is, like, again, you can start it with just doing body weight. You can do it with just regular calisthenics. It's amazing. So, get out there and do it. Anyhow, okay, I am going to let out finally. I'm glad everybody popped by. Tomorrow I may be reading from Kolyma Tales. I was actually going to read something from the Fellow White Journal, but I never really got around to it for reasons. But I might read something from the Fellow White Journal tomorrow. Let's see what happens. Anyhow, okay guys, alright, I'm going to let out. Remember to brush and floss, and I'll see everyone in the chats.